Okay. Sorry for this. Okay. I had to move to this mobile format since I don't have the programming device for the software for this thing. Somehow when I set up the video, it became weird. Okay. So I had to put it on mobile, and also I had to put myself in vertical position instead of lying down position. So sorry for that, guys. I hope that you guys are on track, because I probably lost most of you guys by moving onto this video. But now I'm here anyway. With okay, sorry, I'm going to turn off the sound on my computer and put it. Okay, Night Razor found us and Linda found us as well. Thank you. Oh God. For some reason my computer is not showing me. So that must, I don't know if that's just my computer. Okay. Well, maybe it's just my computer having problems. I wanted to do this on my computer and not on my phone because my phone only has 40% battery. Anyway, here we are. There is sun still outside. It's kind of cloudy, but it is 10:15 here, approximately, and it's not quite the midnight sun, but it kind of is. So I thought that this was something that we could start a conversation with. I'm going to just see here if like the old streaming was ended or how that works. I don't know how that works. Anyway, I'm guessing that you can't have two streams on at the same time, but I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so now I am on the channel. There are 4 people watching. Let's see here. I can see your comments. Okay. Okay, you hear and see me fine. That's good, because I don't. I don't see myself. I only see myself with a long lag and delay. So hello, Cocoa Bean. I enjoy seeing your comments, Cocoa Bean, but they all got deleted somehow, so I only got to read them once. But thank you for all your nice comments. I'm sitting here next to my plants, which somehow I'm keeping alive. The things that I wanted to talk about, they're just suggestions for ideas of what to talk about. And also the time of this. I did a poll and nobody could, well, everybody had different ideas of when they could watch this, so I'm not sure of anything. I know that last time Vondel Pete woke up at like 4 a.m. to watch me, so in Australia, so that was pretty amazing, impressive. So I did this for people in the US. I was thinking about different things. Today I took, for example, the personality test that Eric Thor has put online, which has like, instead of INFP-T, I became an INFP-M, which means modest, which is a much nicer word than saying turbulent. So I do like that part of the test, because that's the thing with Big Five, is that all of the traits that are positive like, the thing is, it's difficult to have a good personality test where some of the words are negative connotation. So turbulent or neurotic is not a good thing to be, while being modest sounds like a better thing to be. And A is still for assertive, I think. But yeah, so I got INFP-M. And I saw that Psych Casserole also got INFP-M. So that was nice to know I'm not the only crazy INFP on there. I like some of Eric Thor's stuff. Some of it is a little bit, well, his own take on stuff. But I also like that he's Swedish, represent Sweden. Even though I think they lives in the Netherlands. I don't know. Okay, Linda is just fine with just INFP. And yeah, I'm fine with that too. I'm fine with that too. I don't like being an INFPT, that's all. But yes, so I'm bragging about being a modest INFP, which is very not modest at all of me. But it's better than being a turbulent. Well, turbulent sounds fun too, but it's less positive. Yeah, Sherman was surprised that a lot of people voted for 11 a.m. Well, thing is, it seems from my analytics, my statistics, that a lot of people who watch my channel are from India, but those aren't the people that comment, so that is a little bit strange. They're just lurking on my channel, watching me, but they do not write to me. So I think that there was a girl who was from, I guess that she was a girl, and she was from Mongolia? I don't know. It was interesting to see that somebody in Mongolia was watching me. But that is, I think that's why a lot of people chose 11 a.m. Because Vondel Peach in Australia apparently wakes up at 4 in the morning and it has no problem with that. So, and Cocoa Bean is from Ireland. So yeah, I don't know which time zone you are. Is it GMT time zone there? Do you have the same time zone as England? Feels like discrimination. Okay, so it's 9 p.m. in Ireland. I don't know how you Irish people feel about having the same time zone as the UK. But I guess that Northern Ireland is part of the UK, so having a different time zone than Ireland would create some problems. But yeah, I'm glad that some people use GMT because, well, Spain should be using GMT, but they don't, and Portugal doesn't, I don't think. So yeah, France uses Paris time, which is what I use in Stockholm. So it's 10:20 here, or 10:15. 13 past 4 p.m. in Eastern Zone, USA. I don't know anything about Eastern Zone. Eastern Zone, Western, you probably don't call it Western Zone. I don't know. I know that it's like EST time, CEST, whatever. Oh, Broccoli Todd, hello. My cousins live in DC area, so that I guess is Eastern time, which is 6 hours difference, I think. So yeah, nice to see all of you guys here. I'd been talking about Eric Thor's personality thingy, and I was INFP modest or whatever. But he is kind of positive. Yeah, Linda has the same time zone as New York City. Same as Washington DC. So makes sense. That's good. I was thinking about Matt Sherman because I did his 5-day course on stuff. What's it called? His 5-day self-growth course, which is like emails, whatever. Wait, I think I should probably put the live stream on the computer as well, because otherwise I'll make no sense. Okay. Schumann says 10 p.m. GMT is a good compromise. Yeah, I think so. I doubt that there are many other Australian people who could be watching this. Anyway, let's see. So Matt Sherman did this email thingy. I do recommend his email thing. He sends you an email every day for 5 days for free. But it's like a standard email. And each email, the first email is like generally about the INFP personality type, and then and about the 4 functions, and then it goes through each of the functions and how that function is good for you and how you can develop that function. And what is good is that he gives good examples of like examples of how a function can be good or bad for a certain INFP. So let's see if I can find the emails. Matt Sherman. I'm sorry, Matt Sherman, but every time that I say Matt Sherman's name, I keep thinking of P. Sherman, Wallaby Road, Sydney. From Nemo. I don't know anybody else called Sherman, sorry. But he calls the functions, FI he calls the resonating soul. And he talks about like the strengths of FI, which is staying true to yourself, deep emotional understanding, supporting others one-on-one, advocating for what's right. And then the struggles, which is overwhelmed by emotions, difficulty with confrontation. So then he gives an example of a fictitious INFP who is called John, who is passionate about animal rights and volunteers at an animal shelter. And then he has a dilemma because the shelter wants to euthanize a dog because it has been aggressive towards the other animals, and he has a hard time, like, dealing with that conflict of personal values. And then John decides that he decides to foster the dog himself with his FI, using his empathy and deep emotional understanding of this dog to work with this dog. So that is where INFPs shine. And I really like that. And then there are journal prompts at the end where he talks about, well, first you have to say, what situation do you demonstrate the strengths of the resonating soul? Does it help you navigate the situation? And what impact did it have on the outcome? And then identify an area where you can work on improving your resonating soul and create a simple plan to overcome the challenge. And so that's like the number one, the one that has to do with FI. And then there's a number 2, which is NE, and it's called Innovating Explorer. And he does the positives and negatives, and then he gives an example. And this is an example of Mia, an INFP who uses her imagination to write. And then one day she walks through the park, she sees a tree house, and then she decides to write a story about the tree house and the people that have been in it and stuff like that. And people like that. She had a unique perspective on this tree house, and and it gave, like, so she used her NE for good. And the journal prompt is like, same thing. How did you use NE to generate new ideas, find a unique solution to a problem, and how can you improve that function and create a plan to overcome the challenge of that? And then number 3 is SI, and SI is called the Stabilizing Guardian. What does that say? Positives, negatives, and then a glimpse for the Guardian. The Guardian is the FI function, together with the SI, it's SI basically. And so this is obviously more difficult. So this is a Sarah, another INFP. And Sarah decided to keep a journal to write down her thoughts and to document her progress and creative projects. And then she could have greater experience and stronger connection to her past experiences and memories. And she could reflect on how far she had come. And through her journaling, she was able to have stability and structure in her creative process. And so same thing with the journal prompts. How can you achieve a goal or solve a problem by implementing a lesson from the past? And then number 4, obviously, is the TE, which is the worst, and that is strategizing commander, is called as T. And positives, negatives, obviously more negatives for the INFP, like getting your life together, or bursts of anger. And this is about Adam, an INFP, who is empathetic and sensitive. And he's passionate about helping people, but he kept taking on too much work and taking on unreasonable demands, really relatable. And so he needed to use TE to become more assertive and effective in his work. And then he attended a workshop on using I statements and standing up for himself. And he found it difficult at first to express his needs and his boundaries. But then he started to practice on this, and he could see the benefits of this. By expressing his boundaries, he could work more efficiently without sacrificing his own well-being. And he saw that assertiveness could also be a compassion in its own right, because by setting the boundaries, he could create a respectful and collaborative work environment. So he could maintain his compassionate and empathetic nature at the same time as he could be a more effective and assertive professional worker. And so that's where you do the same journal prompts. And then at the end, he has like a summarizing. The day 5 is going through all of the things that you talked about and seeing what happens. So I like what he says. Develop your character is for FI. Embrace your creativity for NE. Implement lessons for the fast for SI. And level up your commander for your TE, which is, but there's also setting boundaries, which is also TE. Seek meaningful connections and use your strengths for positive change. So I do think that this is a pretty good a course that is free. So when I'm done with this live, I'll put the link in the description and so that you can receive the emails. I believe that, well, he has his services that are not free, obviously. Eric Thor also has like his own stuff. I'm not really promoting that stuff because I haven't bought them. Okay. I just do the stuff that's free. I do want to support the channels that support me. And in that case, that's older INFP Insights. I've purchased her $10 advice email thing. But yeah, usually I don't want to support like people who make their living off MBTI. because it's hard to know like which ones are actually worth supporting and which aren't. Let's see. You guys are awfully quiet in the comments. Not complaining. I can keep on talking. But yeah. Let's see. Sorry, this plant is. This plant just keeps on growing. It's good that it's not dying in my presence, but well, there. Let's see. And it is getting slightly darker, but it's not black yet. It's not going to get dark until very, very late. It's kind of confusing for my brain to figure out that kind of thing. Oh, Empo's here. Hi, Empo. Good evening to you as well. I'm guessing that you're in a time zone where it is evening. I'm not exactly sure where you're from. Let's see. Oh, and yeah, and then I was going to talk about Enneagram. And I don't know how well versed you guys are on Enneagram, so tell me if you're interested in talking about that. Otherwise, I'll find something else. Oh, Netherlands. Oh, yes, true. I'm sorry. I sent you a letter, so okay. It's just as well that I forgot your address. Okay, your privacy is safe. Oh, it's like a little family here. Okay, Sherman is very nice, and Coco Bean as well. I do like making the CBT episodes, even though technically I'm not doing the CBT episodes. I have 2 more episodes to do. Next one is going to be a hard one, because it's going to be about asserting your boundaries, which is a big problem. Okay. Since TE is like bad at this. It's about saying no, it's about being assertive, but it is important because it talks about being assertive without being aggressive. And I do think that it's possible to do that, to balance that out. And to use the techniques that they have in the book to do that. I had a pretty bad. I went back to the bad therapist another time, which was stupid, I know, but I did, and it went worse than the first time, which was sad. But he did explain about boundaries. And so it wasn't total stupidity, because I learned that I've been filtering out a lot of my feelings when I talk to like my parents and stuff, and instead I should be more clear about like what I mean. So instead of saying like, oh, I don't feel very good, I should be saying pretty much like, I am actually mentally unwell and I'm actually going to see a therapist about this, and I'm on medication about this, and just saying, oh, well, it will go over, is not really helpful. That's basically what I should be saying in order to create boundary. But all I'm saying is like, oh, I'm not feeling too good, you know. So there he was right. Otherwise, he was pretty wrong on a lot of accounts. Quotes and articles. Oh, hello. You only come for lives. That's interesting. Oh, you are an India person. Thank you. Thank you. I know that people in India watch my channel a lot, and they never comment, or at least they never say that they're from India. So I don't know. So hello, quotes and articles from India. You're one of the people that this this must be really crazy because you're 2 a.m. It's 2 a.m. in India. Maybe you're a person who voted for having this at 11 a.m. my time, because I was pretty surprised about that. Oh, thank you, quotes and articles. I'm just surprised because I just know the names of the people who comment a lot, and sometimes the people who comment a lot are not actually the. Sometimes they're the really nice ones, but sometimes they're people that comment a lot that are kind of annoying. So, and those people I have blocked, so they do not exist on my channel anymore. But the people who do comment and the people who don't comment, I love you all equally, as long as you're respectful and nice, which you guys all are in the comments here. It's funny to see you guys saying hello to each other. It's like you see each other in the comments. I know that I do this. I go on on other MBTI channels shows, and then I see like, oh, it's my friend who comments on this channel, and I see this person commenting on that channel, and it's like funny world. Anyway, let's see. I turned the lamp on the other side of the room so I can still see, which is good because it is kind of dark. Let's see if I can show how the sky is. It's like light blue, kind of. Oh wait, I've been balancing you up on a pile of books. There, okay. I have. My pile of books is Claire and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, Mary Oliver's Devotions, and Paula Kokuza. I haven't started reading this book, but it's How to Be Human, it's called, which is very related to INFPs. Anyway, yes, so if you guys are interested in talking about Enneagram, I'm up for it. But I know that a lot of people don't know much about Enneagram, and I don't know much either, so that's it. I was talking about my therapy session, which went to shit. I said I'm not going to see you anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I saw that his name, his Facebook profile appeared as a suggested friend, which either my phone has been spying on me or the therapist actually looked me up on Facebook, which neither of those made me feel very comfortable. And may I know the genre of books you mentioned just now? Let's see. Well, I haven't read the Paula Kokuza book, so I do not know. It seems to be kind of like a magical realism kind of book, from what I understand. Kazuo Ishiguro, Claire and the Sun, is kind of like a science fiction. Kazuo Ishiguro does a certain type of book. I've now read 3 of his books, and this is the 4th. So it's kind of all about unreliable narrators and about like, I read The Remains of the Day, I read Never Let Me Go, and I read Nocturnes by him. And I really wanted to read Claire and the Sun, so I'm only, a quarter way through. So I can't really say, but it's often science fiction-y. Yeah, Ampo, I love Ishiguro's work. I do too. The Song of Achilles is, well, it's kind of like a modern retelling of Achilles, but it's also a LGBTQ story, and it follows Patroclus, who is in love with Achilles, and it's about their story. And obviously, I'm not at the end yet, but I know that it's not going to end well because tragically they die. it's a tragedy, you know. So there's that. And Mary Oliver, it's a poem book. Mary Oliver is a great poet, and I love her poems, and they're a lot about nature and stuff like that. Okay, now people have written about Enneagram. Linda doesn't know a lot about Enneagram. Empo doesn't know much about Enneagram, but wants to learn more about it. So I don't know much about Enneagram, but there was a period where I was really into it. So I will do some kind of like summary about it. I think that what I can talk about is about the triads and the different triads that there are, because it's a very complicated system, and just talking about that is enough, because there's all the different types. And I mean, if anybody who's looked up Enneagram will know that there are different types that are symbolized by numbers, but the triads are a pretty simple way to grasp how Enneagram works. The three different triads, the main triads are the head, the heart, and the body. Enneagram 8, 9, and 1 are the body types. They deal with anger, they are with the body. They are about taking space, about your will. That's why 9 is like rejects kind of being assertive, anger, and like hides, like they try to not have anger. 8s, they project their anger out, and 1s project their anger in. Like they keep it under wraps and controlled because they're perfectionistic. They're all about being perfect. Then there's the 2, 3, and 4, and they are the heart types, and they deal with image, identity, shame, that kind of thing. The 2s, they project an identity that they're loved, that they're lovable, and giving and nice, you know, and they want to be seen as that. And 3s want to show that they're successful and competent, and they want to be seen as that. And 4s want to be seen as unique, and they want to be unique and craft their own identity. But all of these are ashamed, actually, of like there's something missing, or there is a sense of that they're not enough, that kind of thing. And then there's the head types, finally, which are the 5, 6, and 7, and they deal with anxiety and about like relating a little bit to pain and uncertainty, that kind of thing. Fear, they're fear-based types because they're in their head. So the 5s, they would need to gather as much information and knowledge as they can so that they can face the world, in their minds at least. 6s, they feel like they'll never be able to face the world on their own. They need to create a kind of stability, either through other people or with authority figures, or in some other physical way, or mentally have some belief system or something in order to be stable, in order to face the world, because they feel like they can't on their own. And 7s, they don't want to face pain, so they distract themselves from it, so that they don't need to face the anxieties, basically. So those are all the types. So as you can see, there are all these types have one type in it that are completely immersed in the triad that they're in. So, for example, like the 8 is fully into anchor, and the 4 is totally into their identity, and the 6 is totally into like anxiety, you know. And there are all of these other triads. Let's see if I can get the website up with the triads of Enneagram, because there are more triads. And by triangulating all these triads, then you can like triangulate out your type. Let's see. Okay, now people are writing a lot of stuff here. Quotes and articles is a 9-wing one, which is a nice type to be. But like for others, you don't shake the boat. But it's not, I don't think it's fun being one once you realize that like you actually do have anger inside. It's just, you know, you're your own person. And sometimes you can't have harmony all the time. So I think that actually internally it must be hell to be a 9. Because it's like you're so numb to the rest. Yeah, basically Enneagram is roasting everybody. That's what Enneagram does. It's just roasts you. Empo is a 4-wing 5. Good on you. We need some 4s on here. Typical for INFPs. We need to be 4s. Most of us are, at least seem like 4s. Cocoa Bean is 5-wing 4. INTP. Well, yes. I think that a lot of 5s are INTPs, and a lot of INTPs are 5s. And I do like how committed you are to finding knowledge and being independent. I do like that. But it's also an alienating experience being a 5, I guess. Oh, Schumann's happy to find another INTP in the comments. Go Cocoa Bean and Schumann. So there's a 5-wing 4 and a 5-wing 6. I don't really know what the difference would be, but interesting. Yeah, Schumann has been like on here for months, and poor guy. Poor guy has not seen any other INTPs. But now Zach is also an INTP 5-wing 9, but you can't be a 5-wing 9 actually. The wing can only be the numbers that are next to it. So yes, you are right that it's not allowed. I think that when people say that they are 5-wing 9, or for me, I would say like 6-wing 4, it just means that it's in your tri-type. I believe in tri-types. A lot of people think that that's bullshit. Doesn't matter. Oh, Ultimugala, you're an INFP 6-wing 7. Like me. That's great. I have like a totally different tri-type than you, but I am also a 6-wing 7 INFP, I think, which makes me neurotic to the extreme, or modest, if we go through Eric Thor's personality type description. No, because my tri-type is 6, wing 7, 4, wing 5 maybe, and my last would be either 1-wing 9 or 9-wing 1. I'm not sure. But yes, I am a 6-wing 7. So it's like the most common type to be, and at the same time nobody understands 6s. So it's like, you know, worst type to be. No, all of the Enneagram types are worst to be, because none of them are good to be. They're all about our fears and our vices. So yeah, let's see. I was looking up triads because people want to know about triads. Or no, I invented that. Okay, so Ultimo Gaia says, is it Gaia or Gala? Gaia. 667 is scared, but I can be a 911 when I'm calm, and a 2-wing something when not, I guess. That goes into the integration and disintegration of sixes. Sixes, so all types integrate and look like a certain type when they are healthy, and then they disintegrate in a certain type when they're very stressed. And sixes integrate to 9 when they are healthy. So as a 6, you become more calm and collected and harmonious when you are positive. But you become more like a 3 when you become disintegrated, because you get stressed out and feel like you're incompetent and useless. And in order to gain the stability that you need, you want to look successful. So that's where you end up looking like a 3. And you're very focused about your image. So there's that. I also think the INFPs, we do have a tiny slice of 4, and 4s disintegrate into Enneagram 2s when they get stressed, and they become clingy and like dependent and wants to do everything for their lover or their friends or whatever, and are attention seeking and a lot of that kind of stuff. So that's where the 4 disintegration is. 4 integration would be Enneagram 1, which is more about keeping standards and principles and working for a higher purpose. So yeah, quotes and articles. What about INFP 911? How do we appear when we're healthy or unhealthy? Well, that's where the thing is that 9s, they disintegrate into 6, and they integrate into 3. So it's the opposite of 6s. Because 6s, when they integrate, they become a 9. 9s, when they disintegrate, they go into 6. It's like a spiral thing. So 9s disintegrate into 6. And so they become anxious, they become passive aggressive, they like test loyalties, they get pretty controlling of and like angry at their outside circumstances, and wants to and have this fear, that things are falling apart, so they want to have some safety. I have a friend who's a Enneagram 9, and he like the thing that he relates the least to is Enneagram 6. But that's because he's a healthy person. You only get into the disintegration when you're really bad. But if you integrate as a 9, you become more like a 3. You become more driven, more ambitious to actually show what you can do. You become more of a person who's driven to success, rather than just like, lying there in the sand and not causing any waves. You're like carving your own path. So that's where 9s integrate to 3. So it's interesting because 9s, their integration looks like 6 disintegration in a weird way. Because it's kind of like a triangle in the Enneagram. The Enneagram is not like a full, it's not a full star, but 3, 6, and 9 are like a triangle in the symbol thingy, which means that they're kind of linked. But, I forgot to say that the body triad is also called the gut triad, which kind of makes sense for like 8, because they're angry and they're very instinctual. But 9s are also very intuitive, and it's just that they don't know what's going on in their gut. Okay, that's kind of how I think of it. let's see. So those are the different triads that are the main ones, but there are other triads, and I keep forgetting what they're called. I know that the reactive triad is 4, 6, and 8. And so this is a completely other triad. For all of these, like seeing a reaction in people when they talk, you know. Okay, I'm going to enneagramuniverse.com. Let's see. The gut triad. Okay, we know these triads. I want to go to step 2. Okay, I'll have to write down triads, Enneagram, reactive. The reactive group is called the emotional realness or intensity group, and they like to have strong reactions, and they need reactions from others, but they also have strong reactions themselves when faced with conflict or disappointment, that kind of thing. They're called the harmonic groups, this group of triads. So reactive group is one of them, and it's kind of like 4s, they want a reaction, you know, to their uniqueness and stuff, and 6s, they assess, they fear abandonment, so like they need to know where the other person's standing. They become defensive. 8s are, you know, they don't like being controlled or dominated, so they fear being vulnerable. So that's why they're all reactive. And they're very over emotional at times. So you have to realize that like your emotions can impact other people, and so you should draw on the strengths of the other groups. So there's another one that's called competency. The competency group, and I keep forgetting which one is the competency group, but I think type 1, 3, and 5, they're focused on being competent, and so that's how they relate to others. And they try to, like 1s, try to repress, they challenge their feelings into activity, and they want to follow the system, and they get angry if people are not competent within the system. 3s also have little patience for, well, they want to work in their own way and focus on tasks and competency, but they don't like other people who like don't do this. And 5s, they want to be competent, to be an expert and get all of the information, and they don't have patience for rules. They reject the system, basically. So sometimes those people need to figure out their emotions and have a better connection with others. That's not just linked on competency, okay? And then the third is the positive outlook group. And they try to manage these things with other people by having a positive outlook, which sounds good, you know. 7s, they try to avoid pain and have just positive experiences and fun. But they overemphasize their needs, and they don't like having other people's needs. Type 9s, they look at positive qualities of others and of where they are at. And they avoid having problems with other people, but then they also have problems with their needs and other people's needs, because they're allergic to needs. You know, they think that they're above need. You know, the typical like monasteric route of like not having any needs, being very frugal and stuff. That's like the 9. So they have a hard time when people place their needs on them, or if they are, or they can't express their own needs because they're just so positive. Type 2s, same thing. They overemphasize other people's needs and neglect their own needs. So they are having a positive outlook, but maybe they should have a little bit of a more realistic outlook. So that's, that's overlooking problems. So that's where the 3 of the harmonic groups are. There are more triads. I'll just keep talking unless somebody writes something. Let's see. Nobody's writing anything, so I'll just keep going. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Okay. There's apparently a difference between harmony groups and harmonic groups. But let's see what that means. No, there isn't any difference. I don't know why it's like difference. Oh, no. So those I described was harmonic groups, which was like how you view life, other people. This one is called harmony groups. And why is it called that? I don't know. Here's a screen, the screen, and it looks like different triangles, like all stacked on top of each other. Let's see, what is that? Oh, okay. So there's the idealist group. So this is the 3rd triad out of triads. There are many triads. There are 9 types. 9 is 3 times 3, Okay, so idealist group is 1, 4, and 7. And oh, hello, Super Cat. Enjoy having you on here, as you've been on my channel like since the start of my channel. So love you. Hello. And so the idealist group is 1, 4, and 7. And I don't really think that I need to explain this. But I mean, 1s are very idealistic. They're seeking perfection. So that is idealist in itself. 4s, well, they are idealistic because most of them are NFs, basically. And they 4s get frustrated when the world lacks in certain areas. 7s, they want an ideal world free of suffering and just fun, and that positive new stuff. And so they have lost like actually liking in the moment. Tree Tune, hello. Never seen you on here. And Ultimo Gaia, I haven't seen you either. Sorry, I keep saying your name wrong. Well, your pseudonym wrong. Then there's the relationist group, the 2, 5, and 8. And 2s, no big secret that they're relationists. They're into all of people, loving people, They kind of forget to love themselves by giving altruistic love to everybody. 5s, they move away from others. So that's how they're relationists, because they do the exact opposite. 2s move towards others, 5s move away from others. They have lost their way. So yeah, that's why 5s are in the relationist group. 8s assert their strength on other people. So they have their personal agenda. So they have a fear of rejection, all of these types. 1, 5, and 8. No, 2, 5, and 8. And then the last the last group in the harmony groups is the pragmatist group or realist group. And they're the 3, 9, and 6. And those were the types that we were talking about earlier. And they're like a perfect triangle there in the middle of Enneagram. And they all are, well, realists, as opposed to the idealist and the relationist. And the 3s, well, they are just like what makes them recognized, and 6s are like what keeps them stable, and the 9s are like what keeps them conflict free. So it's pretty simple in those groups. And a lot of these 3 types are unfortunately attached to, they have a difficulty with material things. So 3s might like be really attached to getting really, really nice luxury things, materialist things, and 6s might think that like they need stability in their life, so they want to make their homes like nice and stuff like that. And 9s, they don't know what to do with material things. So they are interested in like being very minimalist, kind of. So that's where those groups are. I think I'm missing the last triad, because yeah, somehow there are 4 triads of different kinds, and yeah, there are too many triads, and there are 3 types, and each triad Enneagram is complicated. I'm not going to. I'll look for more. In the meantime, please write a question. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. I'll never stop talking. Okay, it's finally getting dark out here. Let me show you outside. It's getting dark. Not totally black, but this isn't the like totally midnight sun, but almost. Let's see. Oh, okay. I finally found the last triad. Wow, you're 12 people watching. This was apparently a good time to do a live. Okay, here we've got the Hornevian groups. I don't know who Mr. Hornevian is. Okay. Supercat is confused. At the moment, I'm reading EnneagramExplained.com, and I'm going through the triads of the Enneagram. And so now I'm on the last triad, because I went through like the centers of intelligence, body, heart, and mind. And then I went through the harmonic triads, which I forget which ones they were. Reactive. I don't know what they were now anymore. I'm just talking. Okay, I don't know. And then there's harmony. So harmonic is not the same as harmony. Harmony was like idealist, relationist, and realistic. And then this one is the 4th triad, which is called the Hornevian groups. Oh wait. The harmonic, the harmonic where I first said reactive has a positive outlook, and it has competency. So I think I've talked about all of the different triads except for this last one, which is called Hornevian groups, because I don't know who Mr. Hornevian is. And this is kind of a weird constellation where like the triangles are kind of really pointy and long. Let's see, this one is the compliance group. 1, 2, and 6. They're the dutiful group. And I mean, you can see why a 1 who's perfectionistic would be dutiful. A 2 who gives a lot to everybody and wants to be seen as helpful would be dutiful and compliant. And 6s, well, they would be seen as compliant as they're loyal and are scared of authority, you know. And then there is the withdrawn group, the 9, 4, and 5, and they withdraw from conflict. All these types. I mean, you could see a 9 like not wanting to have harmony at all costs and withdrawing from people if they feel like conflict is coming. 4s, well, they move away from people so that they can be more unique in their own little world. 5s withdraw in their minds so that they can be secure. That's what the withdrawn people do. And then there's the assertive group, which is a 3, 7, and 8. And 3s, well, they're assertive because they have to deal with their, like, go to their goals, they have ambition, they just follow their race. 8s, well, they're the definition of assertive. They don't want to be seen as vulnerable, they want to assert themselves. And 7s, they want to have fun and go and seek out new stuff and go out and do stuff in the world. So that's why they're all assertive. So I finally went through the 4 triads of Enneagram and the 3 types that are within each triad. And that's all I can talk about Enneagram for now, unless you guys have any questions, because I'm not an expert on Enneagram, but I have read up a lot about it for a while. Impo descriptions of 4s always make us sound like narcissists. Haha. Well, true. All of the Enneagram descriptions are shit. So it's that is true. But I do relate a lot to 4. I do. Even if I'm a 6, I think I relate a lot to 4, and 4s are pretty self-absorbed. Zach is 9, 4, and 5. And that's me. Very true. Hehe. Okay. Yeah. Now, well, all Enneagram it sucks. Okay. Any type, any description, it's not made to make you feel good, because all of them are about our vices and our fears. So, yeah, I don't really love Enneagram for that, but it does explain certain things. Because when I read about 4s or 6s, it really does hit hard sometimes. It's like, wow, okay, like shit, I am more messed up than I thought, you know. And also, INFPs, we are self-centered. That's who we are, kind of. And 4s are self-centered because everything revolves around our identity. It revolves around our image about who we are. So obviously, that does sound like a narcissist, doesn't it? But I would argue that our narcissists would be more likely to be 3s, because they want to show themselves as successful rather than unique. In general, I'm not speaking for other narcissists because I'm not a narcissist. I do not think. Very modest of me, who's an INFP-M in the Eric Thor system. At the beginning of this live, I was talking about Eric Thor's modest to replace turbulent, because I'm an INFP-M according to his system, which is INFP modest. I do like that he's trying to make a new system that is not complete bullshit. So yeah. And let's see what's going on. Nothing is going on. Was there anything else that was on the agenda to talk about today? Not really. It is finally dark. But it's not black outside, but it is very dark blue. Oh, wait. Info. Do you sometimes feel like you have to distance yourself from MBTI Enneagram for mental health? Sometimes I do, because it hits too hard. Well, I've gone through periods where I've been over-identifying myself with my MBTI type or my Enneagram type. And that's not good if you're going to form your own life. You know, you can't like base your whole life and identity, and you know, you need to work on growth. So being like boxing yourself into these labels can be bad for your mental health. So I sometimes do need breaks for that. It is kind of depressing sometimes to think that, oh God, I'm an INFP in an ESTJ world, you know. But that doesn't make me distance myself from MBTI when I have those thoughts. It's more like, oh, I'm such a martyr, you know. Let's see. Oh, super cat. I've seen a text about possible traumatic experiences leading to certain negative traits of Enneagram types, and I think it's a fitting way to describe unusual behaviors others dislike. True. And that's why I think that I am not an Enneagram 4, because Enneagram 4 usually feel not validated by either of their parents, according to this trauma theory, which is only a theory. I relate more to the Enneagram 6 description of childhood, where it's like, well, I never learned independence from my parents, really. So, and my dad was really into, I think that he's an Enneagram 5, so he's really rigid into security and gathering a lot of information before he makes any kind of decision. Also the fact that he was emotionally distanced, and that created a sense of insecurity. So I do think that makes sense in how I became a 6. Because I had all this fear, kind of, that's of being abandoned, that kind of thing. I wasn't abandoned, but you know, I was worried about certain things since childhood. I've been a 6 since childhood, you know. That's where I feel like Enneagram is very deep rooted into childhood things. The person I was talking about, who was Enneagram 9, he was abused as a kid, so neglected his own needs. I think that a lot of Enneagram behaviors start as very, very young, because it's modeled on your parents, while MBTI is not modeled on your parents, and I think that it develops with time. But there is a part of children that have MBTI types as well. It's just that it's less clear, you know. So I don't know if I really understand this. I don't think that anybody really understands Enneagram, to be honest. It's a very nebulous theory, but there is something to it. There is something. I'm thinking of my dad, because I think, well, I don't know if he's an Enneagram 5 or 1. He's very rigid and wants things to be like right. But I think that he's an Enneagram 5. I think that a lot of it was that he was worried about stability, and he needs to be, he was alone, you know. His parents were not very caring or supportive or even nice. So he had to decide to like do things on his own. He likes gathering a lot of knowledge, often very paranoid about the outside world. And I think because he did not have a very loving family, he became a 5. I don't know which Enneagram type my mom is. But she is not a 5. Okay, she came from a loving family. But her dad died when she was entering college, so that was pretty traumatic for her. But otherwise, she has a loving family. I don't know which type she is, but she's not an Enneagram 5 at least. I don't know if she's a 2. I don't know. She's a 2 or 4? I don't think so. I don't know which type she is. It's hard to tell. She might be a 9. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that. But I think that my brother is an Enneagram 7, I think. Because he always wants to distract himself. He wants to distract himself from painful situation. He avoids a lot of stuff. He just does what he likes, and he's really well liked by people. But a lot of avoiding, a lot of just having fun and just doing his own thing. And I know that he has a lot of worries of different kinds. It's just that he doesn't want to confront them. So yeah, that's about my family's Enneagrams. I'm not sure about them at all. But it does come out pretty early in childhood. And I do think it's very affected by our early life experiences. I had a lot of trouble with authority as I was growing up, because I never wanted to get into trouble. Getting into trouble would like make people mad at me, and I'd lose, like, people would get angry, and that was scary. So, and it was like that since I was like 2 years old, like when I started school, basically, 2.5. My earliest memories are like people of authority getting angry at me, pretty much, or angry at other people and not wanting to, rock the boat, that kind of thing. Or my dad getting angry, or that kind of thing. Also, like, images of stability of, like, my mom, for example, with food and that kind of thing, or validating me, my identity, my creativity and stuff. So yeah, that's enough about my Enneagram and stuff. I hope that answers your question. It is interesting. And it does explain a lot of stuff that, like, other things don't explain. I don't really know how they figured out this Enneagram stuff. But the person who did do this was pretty smart, I must say. Because, like, how could this have been built? Like, MBTI had some kind of structure on Jung, and Jung is pretty smart, There's a lot of intuition that goes into this. Okay, well, it has gone 1 hour and 15 minutes. So let's see, there are 11 people watching, 13 likes. Lovely. Yeah, what else? Oh, I went to visit my ENFJ friend last weekend. It was great. I highly recommend INFPs get yourself an ENFJ friend, because they really are our counterparts. But they are extremely giving and extremely, well, loving and all that. Um, it was kind of an experience because I went to her town and I came there and she was like, "Oh, I'll come get you by car." And I was like, "Okay." So I was standing there, and then a taxi rolls by and says, "Taxi for Ingrid." And I was like, "What?" So I jumped into the taxi. And then I ended up having to pay the taxi, but then she said, "Oh, you weren't supposed to pay." So then she reimbursed me $20 for a taxi for a 5-minute ride, you know? And then we went back to town with the taxi. And I was like, "Why are we taking the taxi? We can walk, you know, um, we're well off, but we're not rich, you know." Uh, but she just is so into like serving and giving, and she wants things to be nice. It was kind of like it was like a joke. She was like, "Oh, but we deserve it," you know. And it's such an experience, and it's like you feel really treated like a VIP. I really like it. She gave me a book that's called Parisian Chic, which is actually by a French person, but it's kind of cheesy book. But she was, and I was like, I was like, "My friend, I don't understand," you know. And my phone is getting low on battery, so I'm just going to plug it into the computer, um, so that they can load indirectly. It can leech off its older sibling. Okay, there we are. Okay, so my phone is leeching off its host. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Yes, ENFJs are lovely. She's amazing. And she was like, and I'm self-conscious about my fashion style because I don't dress nice. But I did dress up for that day because it was Swedish National Day. So I put on a dress, big thing for me, okay? And she was like, "But you are already dressed Parisian chic." And I was like, "What?" And it's just so nice to know somebody who is interested in fashion and who doesn't judge me for my horrible fashion sense. And so she was giving me tips about fashion, and it didn't feel condescending. It just felt like, oh, she wants to help me, you know? She's not there to judge me. I think that SJs would be judging me, and SPs would be rushing me to the stores to go buy stuff, or at least an ESFP would. But ENFJs are like the perfect shopping buddies for an INFP. But yeah, and she was talking about like her home decoration, and I slept on her sofa, and her sofa was really comfortable. Typical her, she has like all of the most beautiful stuff. I've noticed also INFJs are very into like their home decor and how having everything simple, timeless, cozy. Well, thank you, Supercat. I mean, today, like this shirt is me being dressed up, okay? Usually I'm just wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, and that's like me every day. So I'm trying my best. My ESFP co-worker, I actually saw her. She secretly works part-time at my other colleague's Botox place. So I passed by and I was wearing a dress and she was like shocked. Okay, she was shocked out of her mind. She was like, "What are you doing out looking like this?" You know? And I was like, I said, "Well, it's it's the Swedish National Day. And she was like, oh, okay. Because, and at the same time, like, because she always dresses nice. But yeah, so ENFJ's best person to talk to. They don't judge you, and they can be deep. We talked about really deep stuff, about boundaries, about therapy, about good and bad stuff, about being burnt out, because she got burnt out as well. She's also a doctor. But now she's following her dream. She's actually going to be the first resident in all of Sweden to become a nuclear medicine resident. So I'm glad for her. And I gave her some ideas for like how she could set up her residency with my TE, woohoo. And she was actually really, she said, wow, that's so smart. You know, she's so sweet. Like all of everything, she's so excitable about everything, you know? Oh, Schumann. Not being judgmental is also important to somehow develop your own style. Great to hear. Yeah, well, I was like, but wait, how can I be Parisian chic? But like, basically Parisian chic just means that you own a striped shirt, which I do, okay? And that you wear jeans, which I do. And that you have some kind of accessory. So I have a bag, so put on that bag. But I have a pink blazer, which I put on special occasions, which I did that day. So that is also good. So yeah, that was nice of the ENFJ, and she also paid for dinner, but then I paid for like our coffee and stuff. She's lovely. Oh wait, Linda put, I just took the generalized Enneagram test and fell into the Sec 2 hard triad. Congrats. Yeah. 2s are very nice. They are. The only unfortunate thing is that they place too much importance on being nice. But that's the problem of like each type. We all have a problem. And the problems of the 2 is that they place too much importance on that. But they are super selfless, super sweet, altruistic, everything. So yeah. Also, there are very few Enneagram 2s, I think, on this channel. So you're pretty unique in that. That's good. Okay, let's see. What's going on? Nothing else. Now there are 10 people watching. Maybe it's time to round this up, unless there's something else that you guys want to talk about. Oh, something has to happen. I'm going to put this in this video since I'm not going to be making a separate video about this. But I met up with my ISFJ friend, and I got to see his mother and his grandfather. And his grandfather turned 90 years old this week, and they're an Italian family, so it's great. I picked up my violin, and finally, after several years of it being in their cupboard, and I tuned it and I played it, and that was good for my social anxiety. It was one of my exposure therapy things. And the mother is an ESFJ, and I don't know what the grandfather is, but the mother is typical ESFJ, Italian mother. There was somebody who started FaceTiming her, and then it was like actually a whole group of people FaceTiming, and they were all saying hi, like ciao, ciao, ciao. And like, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep myself out of the picture. And they said, good, because otherwise everybody would start asking me tons of questions. And typical ESFJ questions like, oh, do you have a boyfriend? That kind of thing. So that was took a lot of energy out of me, but it was nice because they are like kind of like my adoptive family in Sweden. When I first moved to Sweden, they were the people who like gave me meals and helped me out to like feel not alone in a strange land, So I really do appreciate my friend's whole family. From day one in medical school, and yeah, it's nice having FE friends and FE families. Enneagram definitely explains behaviors, but it's just too many things that come together for me at some point. Therefore, I prefer to stay mostly with MBTI, to be honest. Yes, I completely agree. Enneagram it's on a whole other level. It's on a whole other level. It's like with astrology, Like, okay, your astrology sign, but then it's like on top of that you need to know your moon sign, your sun sign, your Saturn sign, your Venus sign, and your trine rising. And it's like, okay, let me just give me one type and I'll be happy, It's Enneagram is a lot. My brain can't really compute with that. But yeah, it does explain some things that MBTI can't explain. So that's why it's interesting. But I won't be talking about Enneagram for a while because I just got more confused last time I made a video about that, and people in the comments were saying, oh, but you can have several Enneagram types at the same time, or you can change Enneagram type. I was just confused. So yeah, I just thought I'd take it up here in live because I think that you guys are also as confused as I am, basically. Okay. It is nearing midnight here. I've been here for 1.5 hours, approximately. Any closing comments? Because otherwise I will turn this off. Because now I know how to turn this off. I couldn't before. I did not know how to turn this on. Apparently when I set up lives, I need to set it up on my phone and not on my computer, because yeah, the computer, if I do it on my computer, I need to have a special software apparently, or otherwise I set it up with my webcam, but I don't know how to do that. Okay, Super Cat, how are you doing? Pretty okay. I talked about my bad experience with my therapist again. I don't know why I didn't only go once. I went twice to the same guy who was shit, so I'm not going there. I'm not going there again, because he basically berated me for valuing social media time. Yeah, he basically I wasn't valuing doing the dishes, and I was valuing instead to go do social media stuff. But it's like, obviously I'm going to want to do stuff that makes me happy rather than stuff that makes me tired and sad. It's not like it's a big value in my life. And I don't think washing dishes should be a big value in somebody's life. So I was just very confused. This guy is 70 plus years old, so he doesn't really get it. Cookabine is, do you know your big five? No, I don't, but I know that I'm an introvert. I'm introvert, and I know that I'm neurotic, and I know that I go back and forth in conscientiousness, depending on my mood for the day. And what are the other things in the Big Five? I keep forgetting. Big Five. It just feels like I have all the negative parts of that scale, that's why I don't like Big Five scale, because certain things are more positive to have than others, which isn't the case for MBTI. What does Big Five have? Openness and agreeableness, thank you. Yeah, and the only thing that I got positive is that I'm kind of open to experience. And agreeableness, I kind of go back and forth as well, depending on how it is. Schumann and Empo say bye. Yeah, okay, so Big Five feels negative. It is sad. Unfortunately, that's the thing that psychologists use, because that is the easiest to do studies on. So that's why whenever you see studies about personality and psychology, that's what pops up. Schumann is tired, and it's also in English. Yeah, sorry. I wish I knew the German. Would be nice. Someday. Yeah, no, I'm doing this in English. But yes, I'm getting pretty tired as well, since it's nearing midnight. So if there's no more questions, I'll be turning this off. But I don't really know how to do that actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because I'm in vertical mode. Let's see. And it's finally dark. Finally dark. So there isn't midnight sun in this area, but yeah, there's only like a half hour of nighttime in this place. Or like an hour, something like that. Let's see, wait. I think that I have a little bit more battery, maybe not, I'm not sure. I can stay here for a few more minutes, since for some reason, right when I'm about to leave, 14 people are watching, which is the most that this live has gotten. Let's see. Because for some reason I can only have this vertically and I can't have it to the side. So that makes it difficult to put my phone on top of these books. You have any suggestions for books? We talked about this last time, but because I'm reading books now with, but I'm reading a lot of books at the same time, and I just keep getting overwhelmed. But I do need some book suggestions, because I don't have any at the moment. There was somebody who recommended Jane Eyre. Oh, Virginia Woolf's The Waves. Okay, I'll note that down, because there is an English section in the library. Empo is reading Master and Margarita. Never heard of that book. I do want to read Virginia Woolf, because I haven't actually ever read any Virginia Woolf stuff, which feels like a big oversight on my part. Okay, Master and Margarita. Oh, is it Russian? Oh. Soviet writer Michael Bulgakov. Okay. I'll check that out. So I've written these down in the tabs of my computer, so I'll see if they have it at the library first of all, and then I'll check out. I've been reading Annie Ernaux, and it was awesome. I was reading Mémoire de Fille, which it's a great insight into like her memories of being a young adult and how memory works, very insightful, very relatable for some reason. Like, I don't have the same life at all, but Aniano won the Nobel Prize, and I see why. I see why. It was really good. And I was also reading another book by her that was called Le Jeune Homme, which is a very, very short book. And it's about her relationship with a man who could have been as young as her son, basically. So she was older, way older than this guy. And that guy, by being younger, reminded her also of her past. So I've been reading that, and it's been pretty good. I haven't read anything in French since school, so that was pretty amazing. Okay, so I'll check out those two books, and if there's nothing else, I will be turning this off. I'm just going to be writing down Virginia Woolf, The Waves. I have like this website that's called like Listography. It's a good place to like list stuff of like, you know, bucket lists, that kind of thing. The Waves. Okay. There isn't a lot of books in that are in English in this town, but this book, Kazuo Ishiguro, was actually, I asked the library to buy it, so they bought it for me for free, so that was nice. So I think that if I have something that I really want to read, then I can like order it at the library and see if they'll buy it. So yeah, I don't think that I have anything more to say, and it's been a super long live and it's almost midnight. So bye for now. Bye bye. I don't know how to get out of here.